Hello friends, welcome back to another Value Vintage Cards video. In this one I want to share a little bit about Gale Sayers. So my buddy Joe asked me to do a little bit more of non-baseball, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea, but it is some people's cup of tea, and it's a percentage of my collection, and I think football cards are often overlooked and undervalued. So I did want to focus on one of the players that I appreciate. I thought this also would be a good chance to shout out Jason, Everyday Card Collector, his channel. Again, I feel like I, kind of routinely mention him just because I do have quite a bit of contact with him, and what a, just great guy, great supporter. Just one of those people that I think if you're following people that are doing this every day, that's somebody you should definitely be checking out his channel and make sure you're supporting him as well. But he's another Chicago guy, which is an instant bond. I know he's got some Bears ties, and maybe even more so with Gale Sayers being significant. He's got some Kansas ties, which is not maybe not as easy to find a person that's going to be Bears and Kansas connection. But Gale Sayers, amazing player. Definitely one of the, I don't know if you quite go route, Mount Rushmore of Chicago athletes, but probably for Bears, I guess you'd probably say he'd be a Mount Rushmore kind of player. So just wanted to share what I have of his. So out here, what I have showing is kind of everything but his rookie. So it's his second year, third year, fourth year, fifth, sixth, seventh, and I think that's, unless I'm missing something, I believe that's his entire run minus his rookie. So short career, unfortunately, between injuries, and I always say the other factor is just football. Other than modern quarterbacks, you don't have those 15 to 20 year careers very often, especially when you're in a non-kicker quarterback type position. 8, 10, 12 years is a huge career. So having 7 Gale Sayers cards to choose from is pretty cool. And while we're doing Gale Sayers, I did want to just take a quick second and mention one of the reasons that I think Gale Sayers crosses over some of the lines of football into a little more pop culture, and maybe the whole family has heard of him instead of just maybe football fans, is you've got that relationship with Brian Piccolo and Brian's song. Unfortunately, Brian Piccolo passing away. Had, I believe, 4 years with the Bears. Some of it would have been, like kind of practice squad level, but he was a Wake Forest graduate, and that was really back when things were being integrated. So prior to Piccolo and Sayers being roommates, everything was segregated. So there was, the black athletes and the white athletes were basically kept separate for travel purposes and for like hotel sharing purposes. And they finally decided to kind of realign things and said, that isn't the way we want to do things anymore. We're going to go ahead and just align things by position, which I think for the most part lined up and didn't change a lot, other than maybe changing who you roomed with, but not in a racial integration way. But these two were, I believe, the only 2 running backs at the time. So when you take a look at, that's their cards in the same year. So they would have been the 2 to be put together. So they were very good friends. Sayers was a huge advocate, talking about Piccolo's life, spoke at the funeral, was a pallbearer. Just, Brian Piccolo passing very, very young from cancer. So just another, kind of side bar if you're not as familiar with Gale Sayers somehow. Just something else that makes his life and story, significant and interesting. But let me share a little bit of what I have, and I'm showing kind of all the base run, and really what I want to share is some of the other unique, interesting things. And there's that, I am drawn to things like this where you get to see like them, youthful pose. It's him at Kansas, It's got the, the relic component to it. Even within the relics, I tend to collect them only if they have write-ups on the back. I love just the story of, but that shows, his Kansas ties and relic cards. So I go kind of hard on those. So if you think those are interesting, I think they're just it's a fun way to supplement what you collect with players. So kind of neat. Only so many images. Those are pretty similar images. And then, of course, he is still a Bears great, so no problem enjoying the fact that he was a legend with the Bears, and that one still has a little bit of just authentication on the back. Nothing really too exciting on the write-up end of things on that one. And the same thing here. Nothing too exciting, but there's not a ton of players that I collect quite as hard in other sports like I do baseball, but Sayers is one that is interesting, partly because it seemed like he I always kind of look at it, he led a good life. It seemed like he was a good teammate, good person, good everything. And then just kind of looking at all the other contributions and the Brian Piccolo relationship. And then I'm going to share a couple other kind of neat things, but also just, being one of those Chicago pillars. So these are neat. Look at these relic cards. Obviously we're missing Jordan. Got Sandberg, Dawson, Fergie. I suppose you could toss like Greg Maddux on there maybe, but he's kind of a Brave. I don't know. You got Pippen, and then you got Peyton, and you got, of course, Gale Sayers. So pretty neat. I do enjoy those. And then there's other ways of tying and connecting. So historical duels. So having him and Jim Brown together, that's a heck of a cool combo as well. A couple of the top, whatever, 5, 10 running backs, however you want to rank them. And then the last one I've shown in other videos, but it's actually one of my favorite relic cards. And it's one of my favorites because it is, if I get in closer, maybe you can see that better. It is the 1977 Hall of Fame induction. Ernie Banks, who I collect pretty heavily, and Gale Sayers. 2 Chicago guys, 1977, the year I was born. So I just think for myself, that's, personal ties, personal meaning, personal cool factors. So that's another thing that draws me to Gale Sayers is just his, obviously I missed him playing. I mean, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame the year I was born. So clearly I didn't see him. But just hearing stories, and then you kind of have like the Walter Payton connection that everyone would kind of tie back and say, yeah, he's, the best back since Gale Sayers. So you always kind of hear the stories and whatnot. And then his cards are neat. So that's a really cool one. I'm not sure if that's going to show up as well in video, but the 3-dimensional aspect of that, all these different like Kellogg's, Nabisco's, all these little food issues in the 70s, or Hostess, all these different companies made cards, and some were reflective, some were 3D, some were perforated, but that one seems to be pretty decent. It's nothing you grade, nothing I care too much about. It's nothing that's big money, but I care about it from the fact it's a cool item, but it's not, dollar-wise anything significant. The other two I'm going to share that are more like base are, actually this is a steal. If you're looking for a way to get into a Gale Sayers, because it is Gale Sayers, but it's not Gale Sayers. It's supposed to be a Bears play card, but it talks about Gale Sayers. It's from 1966, which is his rookie. And there he is. And I got this thing at a 7 for like not much. these just aren't expensive. So if you're looking for another, option, if the rookie card, at a couple $100 is an ouch to the budget, this thing's definitely a fraction of that. And especially if you do lower grade, they're really not a big deal in terms of price. This is one I had several of, and I've kind of downsized / I think I still have a couple that I could move. So maybe needs a Gale Sayers rookie in a little bit lower grade. This will be the one that I keep. I think a 6 is pretty strong, pretty solid. Nice example. And it looks like it's a pretty good 6. I don't have any issues or problems looking at that forever. The back of these are pretty neat. So that will be my Gale Sayers rookie card. Forever and ever. I think a 6 for what that is. 7s and 8s and stuff get really, really expensive, and a 6 is actually a bit of a jump over 4s and 5s, but I do think that 6 in particular looks pretty nice. And only a few more pieces to share, and kind of sticking with that connection of Gale Sayers being a great bear and also having those Kansas ties, and then also bringing in something a little bit different. I like autographs when they're on something maybe unique. So this was not designed to be necessarily just a, insert auto card kind of thing. Those are fine. Those are great. But I do enjoy when somebody goes back and has something signed in person. I don't distrust the authenticity of it. And in fact, the next one is exactly what that is. But, if you're sitting in a room and he's signing it and you're handing it to him, that's different than when he's just saying, I'm sitting in a room because I'm being paid to and I'm signing these things. So this one, literally the card says, congratulations, you've received a signed card. So this was issued from Upper Deck as autographed. I think Upper Deck has a pretty solid reputation of saying, like, yeah, they're legit autos, they're legit memorabilia, all the stuff's real, but got a nice grade to it. I'm never a person that, if it had a ding corner or the auto was an 8 or I don't know how you grade autographs. I mean, if they're smudged, that's worse, but for the most part, as long as it's real, I prefer not smudged, but that's cool. But I do like the college images. I love when they're like youthful football players when they're, in college, which obviously baseball and things, sometimes you don't get that advantage, but basketball, football, historically they're going to have a college jersey, relic, image, career to document. So I like those images a lot. 2 more that kind of tie in with that idea, and then we'll be through my Gale run. I like this a lot too. Again, you're getting the Kansas thing. The twist on this, it's an authentic auto. That's totally fine. It shows a neat image of him. I like the black and white color combo thing going on there. And it's made to look retro. So it's made to look kind of like the 55 All-American. So they kind of recreate that because he was not even in college in 55. But what I like about this is the signature has HOF 77 on it. I love that stuff. I love when there's additional writing. Give me a nickname, give me a formal name, give me anything that's different. Stan the Man Musial, Hall of Fame 77, or if you're Gale Sayers, my final piece is an 8x10 because I tried to score a card like this and it was just too gosh darn expensive. Those things got salty in a hurry. So I said, well, what's my other choice? I got a certified, verified 8x10. It's not slabbed, but I do believe everything, authentication, documentation, seems to be legit. So signature seems very consistent too, but I just love that it has Kansas Comet on it. It's actually easier to find something that says HOF 77 for him than it is to find things that say a Kansas Comet. So I just think that it's an 8x10. I just think that's so super neat. So that is my final piece. Small collection. Don't go crazy, but I do like the variety. I love the college stuff. I'm not a Kansas fan per se, but I am absolutely a huge fan of finding cards, items, images, whatever, of the players in their earliest days. And with, like I said, basketball, football, it's super cool that you can find things like when they're in college and they're 19, 20 years old. So just fun. So that's a couple of shout outs. Hopefully a fun Gale Sayers run through, and maybe some things that if you are a football collector and looking for some supplements to his standard 7 or 8 cards that you have, maybe that tosses you a couple other ideas to search out and add to your collection. So hopefully that's fun. I will catch you on the next video. Take care, everybody.